Hello. Okay, so continuing on our conversation on sleep. This is a 4-part series and this is episode 4, and we're going to talk about hormones today and how they impact insomnia or sleeplessness. All right, so the first hormone that I'm going to talk to you about is something that I have mentioned before in a previous video, and that's called cortisol. It's a hormone that's produced in your adrenal glands. Those are the glands that sit on top of your kidneys. It's one of the hormones that our bodies produce in response to stress. Cortisol is protective by nature. It helps protect our bodies from the ravages of stress, and cortisol is also important for sleep. Now, you need a little bit of an elevation in cortisol in your body just before you wake up, because it actually helps with the waking up process, and it kind of preps your body for the day, gets your energy levels up, actually even wakes up your appetite so you can want to have breakfast, so that you have good energy to enter into the day and that you're prepared for the stress of the day. Now, if your cortisol levels are too high when you go to sleep, it's going to impact melatonin, which is another hormone I mentioned, and that's the hormone that helps us with our sleeping and waking cycles, when we should fall asleep, how deeply we sleep, and when we wake up. All right, so how can we manage cortisol? Sometimes we have elevated cortisol levels because our stress levels are exceptionally high throughout the day and we're producing too much cortisol. Now, there are loads of natural remedies, herbals, that can be used to help to manage our stress response, or to manage the cortisol levels, so we have a healthy stress response, so we have good energy throughout the day, and that the cortisol isn't highly elevated at night, so it's not impacting our sleeping problem. So if you are a stressed individual, you need to understand that you not only are going to take something to help you with falling asleep at night, but you should really be considering using some sort of a stress management option during the day. So some sort of an adaptogenic that's going to help your body to regulate your cortisol production. One of my favorite remedies to recommend is the canprev Adrenal-Pro, and what they've done is they've combined the herbals that help with our cortisol management and stress response, along with vitamins that are also recommended for making sure that we have healthy adrenal function and healthy stress response. It makes it easy because it's in one supplement. So you would take a product like Adrenal-Pro, or they have another one called Adrenal Chill if you tend to be more of the anxious, stressed person, that's taken during the day, and then you can combine that with a sleeping product at night, and you'll have better success at starting to regulate your sleeping patterns, especially if they have been disrupted by continuous unremittent stress during the day. Now, there's another hormone called insulin, and I'm sure you're very familiar with that. That's the blood sugar management hormone. It's also a fat storage hormone as well, and this is a consideration for people who are borderline diabetics or hypoglycemic, or people who are full-blown diabetic, whether they're type 1 or type 2. Now, the reason why it's important to manage your insulin is kind of a chicken and egg situation here. If you don't have healthy insulin balance during the day, then it is going to impact your sleeping patterns at night. If you don't have healthy sleeping patterns at night, you don't regulate your insulin properly, and then you're not going to have good blood sugar management through the night and as you wake up in the morning. So it is exceptionally important for people who have blood sugar management issues to consider that their insulin balance during the day or at night is definitely going to have an impact on your sleeping problems. So that could be your underlying condition. If you're not regulating your insulin properly, then your sleeping patterns are disrupted, and then again that's going to have a negative impact on regulating your insulin. So definitely with diabetics, your diet is exceptionally important, making sure that you are following your regimen, that you're eating regularly, that you're managing your blood sugar, not just by monitoring it, but in some cases if you do need to take medication, or if you're taking herbal remedies to help you with supporting your pancreas, that is critically important to do during the day so that you can have better sleeping. So for those diabetics or pre-diabetics who are having a sleeping problem, consider that it could be partly because you're not managing your blood sugar properly during the day. All right. Now, the next hormone or family of hormones I'm going to talk to you about are the women's hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Now, estrogen and progesterone management becomes an issue two stages in your life. One, if you have really severe PMS, premenstrual syndrome, then that can negatively impact your sleeping patterns. So if your hormonal imbalance is out of whack and you have really severe PMS symptoms, then that is then going to impact your sleeping. It's a symptom of your insomnia is a symptom of your PMS. So there are a couple of remedies, simple remedies that I can recommend. And one thing to keep in mind is that some of these herbal remedies that are suggested for premenstrual syndrome may in fact have an impact on a birth control pill. So if you are taking a birth control pill, please talk to your naturopathic doctor or your natural health practitioner if you're adding in some herbals to help you with managing your PMS symptoms, because it can impact your birth control pill. All right. So a couple of options when it comes to PMS management. So your cortisol levels, your adrenal glands are going to impact the production of your sex hormones, so estrogen and progesterone. So again, we're going to work on regulating our cortisol production. So we can use one of those anti-stress hormones and combine hormone supplements, and combine that with a PMS formula. Now, this is a long and complicated conversation, so I'm just going to give you some quick tips, and we can go into more detail about PMS in another video. But again, there are a few really wonderful remedies. There's the Pascofemin, which is a supplement from a German company. It's a homeopathic product that helps with progesterone and estrogen management, so it has a positive impact on PMS symptoms, and that is as I said, it's a homeopathic, so they don't really have side effects or complications, so they're easy to do. The essential fat from evening primrose oil helps us with healthy progesterone production, so that's going to impact our estrogen metabolism as well. So good balance in those two categories of hormones are going to help with remedying your PMS symptoms. So keep that in mind and try and do them consistently. Also, if you do have these premenstrual syndrome symptoms, keep in mind that regulating sex hormones takes time. So usually I will tell people to try and stick with the remedy for about at least 90 days, so 3 hormone cycles, in order to see some noticeable change in your symptoms. All right. And the same thing goes for menopause, because it's kind of the other end of the lifespan, but very similar imbalances in hormones. And especially when it comes to menopause, the imbalance in hormones or the lower estrogen levels can interfere with our sleeping patterns, because they can interfere with our body temperature management and also visceral or abdominal body fat. So healthy body temperature management is important for helping us to get into a deeper sleep. And if we are having huge fluctuations in our body temperature at night, then that is going to interrupt that nice sleeping cycle. So managing menopausal symptoms and regulating or balancing those hormones as we travel through menopause is important, because it is going to have a positive impact on your sleep. Also, making sure that you're regulating your abdominal or visceral fat is important, because as we experience very low estrogen levels, the body fat tends to move to that area of our body, and that increases our risk for developing things like sleep apnea and snoring. So those breathing problems will again negatively impact your sleep. So very important that we start working on managing or balancing those symptoms during the day, so that we can have a positive impact on our sleeping patterns at night. Now, the Metagenics company does a product called Estrovera, and it's a rhubarb extract, a single ingredient, clinically studied and accepted exceptionally good for that body temperature management issue. And also in a lot of cases, women find that their mood is a lot better as well on the Aloe Vera. It's a very simple remedy. It's 1 tablet a day, and again, it's about a 12-week cycle that you're on. You can take it for longer, but we usually recommend at least the 12 weeks to start seeing a noticeable change. And then again, with evening primrose oil, you'll get a better result because that's the essential fat that's helping you with your progesterone production. Okay, and then we get to the boys, the men. Testosterone. So if your stress levels are really high, and your cortisol levels are really high, they can suppress your testosterone levels. And testosterone is very important for healthy sleep as well in men. If your testosterone levels are too low, you're also going to see some changes in body fat, loss of muscle tone, and increase in visceral body fat. So again, in the abdomen area, increasing your problems with sleep because of the snoring or sleep apnea. And again, making sure that you manage your testosterone levels during the day is going to have a positive impact because it is closely connected to your sleeping patterns at night. So if you have low testosterone levels during the day, then you are going to have poor sleep at night. So there are some remedies also that help with men and hormone production. The Ultimate line has a product called Ultimate Testosterone Booster, and what it is, it's a remedy for men who have clinically low testosterone, and it helps with improving testosterone production. And again, I always recommend combining that with your anti-stress remedy. Why? Because your cortisol production will have an impact on your testosterone levels. If your stress levels are chronically high, it's gonna start pushing that testosterone down. So we need to take those two remedies together as a team to help us to improve our testosterone levels, so that we not only have good healthy muscle tone, good energy, good mood, but also that we have better sleep. And again, that vicious cycle, if you don't have really good sleep, then it's going to negatively impact those hormones during the day. And again, the same thing, the same rules apply for helping with regulating testosterone production. It's going to take at least 3 months of consistent use of your remedies, along with stress management. And this is true for all of the factors that I've just discussed. All those hormones are closely connected to how our bodies respond to stress. So it's important to consider environmental factors, prayer, meditation, relaxation, and calming. Working on your mindfulness and your perspective on how you emotionally respond to stress. That is definitely going to have an impact on your testosterone, your progesterone, your estrogen, your cortisol, your insulin. All right, so hopefully this was helpful. I will go into more detail on men's hormonal imbalance and women's hormonal imbalance in another video. So please look out for that. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and yes, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I post new videos. Thank you so much. Hopefully we are going to sleep much better after this, and be well. Take care.